Welcome back, ladies and gents, to the Behind the Brand podcast. My name is Curtis and I am the host. And today we have, again, no stranger to the studio. He's been in once before and I've got him back in. I've reeled him in. We have Reaper Grappling owner Chris with us. How you doing, mate? Sorry, I've just
right in a second. I'm good, mate. I'm good. How's yourself?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thanks very much for coming back on.
No problem.
You've obviously been featured on one of our clients' podcasts, OPT Fitness. Again, you can catch Chris on that. He's going to quite a good bit of conversation on that.
Yeah, we did actually. I covered quite a few topics.
It was quite a good one, to be fair. A wee bit long as well, which was quite good. So if you're looking for something to listen to and pass the time, this is the podcast. Definitely listen to. So for those that have been watching, we're now on episode God knows what number, but you know how it goes. We always want to find out exactly who is in front of me here. We want to find out about the business. So Chris, could you even give us a wee introduction as to who you are, my friend?
So obviously Chris, I started this whole journey as a personal trainer, and it kind of evolved just like through time, just what kind of like working in gyms and seeing how gyms worked and realising like over time that being a PT and the amount of rent they were charging, there was no money to be made in personal training. Still to this day, it's exactly the same.
Is that like out in the gym, sorry? Like,
yeah. So like if you look at like commercial gyms, so for me, like this is how the whole setup kind of like started, was realising you were paying still in JD gyms, and it was exercise for less at the time when I first started. If you wanted to be a full-time PT and not pay any rent, they were charging like £600 per month.
Wow.
And that was just for you to rent the facilities before you even put a penny in your own pocket.
Oof,
never mind
mortgage.
never mind pay taxes or national insurance or pay your own way outside of that. So for me, like, the idea was just first like create a studio. Like I'll create my own studio. Like I would rather pay £600 for a small room that I could kit out and rig out myself. And went through the business gateway. This was years ago. Got a few ideas, and then I ended up just going back to like college and uni and studying for a little bit. And while I did that, it kind of allowed me to support myself and kind of envisage where I was going to take the future or the brand, and launched Reaper, the gym. So we basically launched a martial arts club. And it was just literally a room full of mats, and then from there COVID obviously hit, and with that came obviously all the restrictions in place, and because of that we weren't allowed to have any close contact, so it meant that the gym then had to evolve. So for us to open on April the 26th, we had to fit in with the general consensus for commercial gyms, and that was then we had to have a strength and conditioning suite. So it was always going to happen anyway, but it was a total different kind of path. Like it was just a different route. We went a different way. We went from me having a studio to finding martial arts at 27 to loving martial arts, opening a small studio, lockdown, creating a situation where we had to have a strength conditioning suite anyway, and kind of fast forward to now, and this is where we're kind of sitting at just now. So
you've had to learn, adapt and overcome.
Literally learn as you go. Aye.
That's mental. Considering obviously with the kind of like things that you're doing with the mixed martial arts, like everybody knows it is full on contact.
It's full on contact. I mean?
How do you then go from no contact to no contact?
I literally try and keep your business open. And
did you have a screen just in front of everybody? Would they just?
It was just an absolute disaster. Like, to be fair, like I said before, like people supported us anyway. They continued to pay their memberships and just to cover their rent, because they wanted somewhere to come back to. But instead of, because we were still making a small profit, instead of pocketing it, that's allowed me to then continue to reinvest into the club all the way through lockdown. So it went from just having a small amount of mat space to a full-on gym. And that was
so
like,
you could still continue to grow.
We still continue to grow.
Like one of the worst times.
A lot of people were like just taking advantage of it and keeping the money and just surviving. I was used to being a student anyway, so I was like, well, I'll just eat tins of beans and continue the student life for an extra 2 years, and here we are. Like, paid off in the end. Like, I knew it was going to pay off in the end, but it was like a real battle whether or not we were going to have to shut.
It's just down to your hard work and your dedication to it as well, and obviously people obviously seen the vision that you had, and they've obviously
believing in it,
and they believed it, and I think that's half the battle sometimes, is having that vision and having others see it through your eyes and things like that, and obviously it's paid off as well, because
definitely
your gym's absolutely booming as well, and it's such a unique thing, I think, as well in Renfrewshire. I'm not aware of any more. You probably know of more.
That was the whole point. There was nothing in Renfrewshire. That was what kind of led me to go down that path. Like I'd been to like a gym before and trained in it, and most people run it like a hobby. I've said that before. Like, it's always a hobby, which I do get, but you can't run a business like a hobby because there's no money to be made in a hobby. There's not really any money to be made in it unless you become like you're already a high level MMA guy. But even then, like your career path's very, very short as well, especially for people in Scotland. We start too late. Like Americans wrestle and stuff from.
I was going to say from school.
All the way through.
Yeah,
so
massive.
As soon as they leave school, they're already get like a high level pedigree MMA almost. They're almost there. Whereas it's football here, which is nothing wrong with that, but it's not the forte that we're in, and it's really hard to get into football. Again, there's so many people that are in it. It's a saturated market. So, and you really need to be a standout people. So.
Massively. I mean, that was I think every wee boy's dream, I think, was to become a footballer.
Aye.
You know, I mean, you look at the people in your class, and I'm like, I mean, even boy, I went to primary school, there's one boy it's made it.
Aye.
And he's playing with like Livingston and stuff like that, and I'm like, fair play to him. Like, to be fair.
Literally, that's it. Aye.
But no, it's one of those ones. I love the story, and I love that. You obviously talked about being a PT as well. Like, did you have was there any specialities that you kind of covered when you were doing personal training?
So personally, when I worked as a PT, like, I just found my market was bizarrely older females. Like, I was really good at weight loss. Like, nutrition's something that I dialed in on very, very quickly.
Something you discussed quite a lot in the OPT.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Like,
so it's something I was quite passionate about. Like, you can't out-train a bad diet. So it started there, and then it just kind of, because I'm quite friendly, I found that I don't know why, just my main market was females over 50.
Yeah, which
was absolutely fine. Like, again, it's a good market anyway, because generally females over 50 have disposable income, so they're more likely to come to you anyway. So for me, I was never a complaint. But as I went through college and uni, and I was finishing up with my sports science degree, that's when I was like, right, now I want to work in another niche, and I've already started the gym, so this is where I'm now going to create complete athletes. So.
And was it always the idea of doing MMA? Like, did you ever train in that? Or
yeah, so I wanted to do MMA years ago, but like I said, within Renfrewshire, I didn't drive before either. So, like, as a younger guy who had no way of getting to like apart from Glasgow, Killie or Kilmarnock, where one of the schools that I wanted to train at was based. Like, I was like, that's a dream for me at the age of 16. And
do you find that a lot of the places like that do MMA, and specialise in MMA, are kind of out with Glasgow?
So there is a few gyms in Glasgow, and they are really good, like the Grip House and stuff like that. They're notoriously, they are really, really good. They've been there for a while. They're well established. They produce high caliber fighters, and jiu-jitsu players, and even K1 and Thai fighters. But for other people, it can be quite intimidating as well. But for me, like, before I even knew about the Grip, I knew about Marcos, and I wanted to do jiu-jitsu, so he was the main guy. And he was in Paisley for a while, and by the time I found him, he had moved back to Kilmarnock. So that just kind of like, not shut down the dream, but I was like, right, okay, cool, I'll finish my driving lessons, I'll get a car, I'll be able to start travelling. And then what happened was I had kids. So then fast forward to 3 kids later, and I'm 27 years old, and I took my kids to their first class.
Wow, 3 kids at 27.
3 kids at 27. So I took them to their first class, and then the guy was like, when are you going to start? And that was literally what started my passion for MMA.
Oh, so you've been taking your kids
taking
to
the kids, aye, and
that's how
he was like, when are you going to jump in? And I'm like, cool, I'll jump in now. Like, so we started MMA. Excuse me, sorry. We started the MMA, and it kind of dwindled. Like, the class died, but jiu-jitsu was obviously well established. So I just snuck into the jiu-jitsu class and started that, and then that was it. Like, I get absolutely fascinated with how complex and
it's not just the brutality behind UFC. Like, there is an art to it.
Yeah. So I thought that, like, it was actually one of my very good friends actually helped me get started. Doogie, like, I was running through everybody. Like not even like a humble brag. Like, I was like 80 something kilo. People at the gym weren't that heavy, so I'm running through everybody. You're thinking, like, this is how you do it. Like, just smashing everyone, like running through their guards and stuff. And I could see they were getting frustrated, but I didn't know why. And then I came across Doogie, who was like 80 kilo, and I was like trying to kind of like fight through his guard, and the next thing I was on the floor, just upside down, and I was like,
just happened?
Aye. I was like, what? Whoa. And he's like, that's jiu-jitsu. And I was like, right, okay, like, it's actually, like, there's something to this. Like, and that was the defining moment for me, where I, like, opened my eyes and realised actually there's something to this.
So let's talk about the services and the classes that you run at Reaper Grappling. Do you want to give us a wee rundown?
Yeah, so we try and kind of like make it fair for everybody, so that everybody can get access to the gym. So at first, originally, it was quite cheap. It was just like a flat rate of 50 quid. And then I was like, right, I'm underselling myself with the amount of hours and the amount of effort and like for what you get in here, it's just far too low. So what we did was we split it up into £35 for lifting only. So if you want to just come in and use the lifting facilities, it's £35 per month, and there's no direct debit. It's just a standing order, and you can leave anytime.
That's quite good.
And you can sign up online as well. We then also added in the classes package, so you could do like classes only, which is 55. If you then wanted to do both, which is classes and lifting, it's 75. Obviously, then we've added the fitness suite. So a lot of people just want to do, or the recovery room. So a lot of people want to just do the classes, but now know the benefits of recovery. So there's now a recovery package as well, which is 75, and that gives them access to all the classes, and you can go in and use the facilities that we've got for the sauna and the plunge pools and all the other stuff that we've got in the room. And then we've got a complete package, which is access to everything, and that's £90 per month. And that gives you the full bang access to everything. Yeah.
As well. And again, it's like one of these things that if you are really serious about getting involved in a sport, then it's definitely something that you should look to invest in.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just a case of going to the gym and lifting weights and stuff like that, and maybe doing your cardio. Like, I mean, the full package. I mean, you're getting taught so much knowledge about your fighting.
That is what you're paying. That is what you're paying for. It's knowledge. It's not just the facilities. Yep. It's not just. It's everybody that you're learning off of. It's years of experience, and it's their study that you're basically. Excuse me. You're basically paying for. Like, it's like a college degree, a uni degree. Like, you have to pay for that. So why would you not?
That's it. And you're obviously, if you're getting involved in that, you're obviously training towards something as well. And that kind of leads me on to my next question as well. Like, you have a lot of fighters and stuff like that that obviously come to your gym. Do you guys like compete in tournaments as Reaper Grappling, like as a club organisation, or do you have like individuals that just come and maybe are like, listen, I've got a fight coming up, I want to use your gym, can I train in it or whatever? Like, is it that kind of style?
Yeah, we've got a mixture of both. So if you want to represent the gym, then you need to be a member. Right, like that's like a big thing. So if you want to actually fight underneath the banner of Reaper, then you need to be a member and you need to be training for X amount of time, and a coach has to look over you and be like, right, cool, you are ready. Jiu-jitsu is not as bad because you're not going to get punched in the face and you're not going to get CTE or brain damage. So we're not as we're a bit more relaxed with that, and we are very open to open training. Like, people coming in, we should be sharing knowledge. Like, I've said this before as well, with a lot of gyms it's quite cliquey, you know, like, oh, this gym's better than that gym, like you can't train there. Like, it doesn't actually help Scotland as a
it's not Cobra Kai.
No, like it doesn't help. Like, if we want,
like that.
There's like 4 nation tournaments that come up, so it's like Scotland versus England, Wales and Ireland. If we want, like, for people to be the best, you need to exchange knowledge and ideas and styles. So, but for the gym, if you want to fight, like, we've got one guy that's going to be our first MMA debut. He's just a young guy as well. He's only like 18, 19, maybe even 20 now. We've flew through lockdown. It's been a nightmare. But he's really, really good. Callum, his name is. So we've got our first MMA guy coming up. And he's debuting on the 5th of November. We've got a lot of Thai fighters.
Is that with a certain promotion, or is that like...
Yeah, Goliath, my friend Steve that runs Goliath Gym up in Fife, he's got a Goliath fight series. He's a like business guru, man. Like I've got a lot of time and respect for the guy. He's got like 3 or 4 gyms on the go. He's always on it, always hustling. Like, he's a great...
But given a good name to...
Yeah, definitely. Like, he started his own production. He's already on his 5th show already, and that's only been like within a year and a half or something. So he's absolutely flying now. So we've got Callum on that. We've got a lot of Thai fighters that Bobby for Base Thai. He's been established for about 30 odd years. So we obviously coupled up together. So he's got like a lot of good level fighters coming up now, and we're just continuing to grow that up. But we have had other fighters in. Like, we've had people that are on one. I'm not drop names, but we've had like people on one.
Hey, listen, feel free to drop names.
No.
Maybe people out there are like, I know that.
We've got. They need to, if they want to know, they need to come to Reaper. So that's what I'm saying. But so we've had people dropping in that train that are amazing. And again, it's just why not? Like, like they're just training and getting their head down and prepping for fights before they go to Thailand. So it's good. Do
you find that a lot of people are like, is that? So I've seen a couple of. I've got a friend that's son is major into these. I think it might be kickboxing. I could be wrong. And they seem to be doing a lot of fights in Thailand. Is that where the big kind of promotions are happening at the moment?
There's a lot of promotions in Thailand, but because that's their main art, like even from like a young age, they're fighting for food. Like, they're fighting for rice. Like, literally, like that's how
it's life or death.
Yeah. Like, literally, that's what they do from a young age of like 4 onwards. Like, they're just training and they're literally there to fight for food and win food for their family. And that's why the Thais are so good at Thai boxing. But you're finding the Scottish mentality produces a lot of great Thai fighters.
This boy's some fighter, by the way. He's a some fighter.
Aye, amazing.
Genuinely, and he's a young guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's probably in his 20s now. I think he's like, but even like flying over with like watching his journey as well from this wee skinny guy that I once knew to like a proper fully fledged fighter. Like, and I think he is. Like, I heard a couple of people when I've been speaking about it, like, have you seen his boy? I'm like, and he's an absolute animal. And you're just like, even his dad's like, he's an animal. And I'm like, do you know what? And he's found his passion as well. Like, and he's totally adapted. I think he even went over and studied over that sort of way, like the fighting and the techniques and stuff like that. Again, more knowledge than I would ever have about it. And I'm just like, it's just so impressive to see it though, the dedication.
That's what I mean. You have to be all in. Like, you have all in or nothing. You have to be all in. Like, especially if it's like you're talking serious fighting where you're potentially going to get punched and kicked in the face. Like, you need to be all in. You can't. That's like if we have a fighter or someone that's potentially looking to fight, if they skip sessions, miss sessions, like, you know, they're drinking at the weekend, you're pulled. You don't even get you might get a second look in, but you only get so many chances, and then because at the end of the day, it's not just our reputation, it's
the discipline there. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of these sort of sports. It's all to do with discipline.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's it. If you're not taking the time to look after yourself properly, because again, it's not just the person, the individual, it's the gym that they're affecting as well. Don't want to be putting a bad name on Reaper.
And we don't want to chuck fighters out there that end up, you know, just getting their head panned in. Like, one, it looks bad on us, but two, it's not safe. Like, at the forefront of all our fighters is their safety.
Do you tend to find that you get a lot of big personalities and stuff, like from watching the UFC coming into your gym thinking, I'm the big boss? And I'm not meaning like they're coming in being nasty wee characters. I'm not meaning that at all. I mean, like, do you think because of the rise of
they don't have the realisation of what it takes? So, like, I've only started stepping back into MMA. Like I said, focused solely on jiu-jitsu for a long time. 6 years there, just 4 years if you include lockdown. But for that whole period of time, we've never really had anybody come through the door like we've really had to remove or thought like this guy's a problem. You do get the odd person that comes in, they run their mouth, they think they're like the next Conor McGregor, and then they quickly realise getting punched in the face or getting taken down, they've got no answer for it. They've no answer. I know, but they've got absolutely no answer for it at all whatsoever. So as soon as they get taken to the floor or it's out of their comfort zone, you find that they don't come back. Like, they're just like, that's not for me. And they just don't come back. Like, it's that quick. Like, they're like, yeah, I want to fight. Okay, you've had two street fights, and then they come in, and then the next thing they're on the deck, and their ego's just completely smashed to pieces. And there's no even any malice or hurt. They just don't understand it, and then they're away. That's them gone. That's it.
It's all down to discipline. You mean your opponent at the end of the day, they're, you know, I mean, they've been training probably longer than you as well, and I think you've got to look at like the way they present themselves as well, and you're like, oh god, they're not taking any shit from me. So it's just like, got to hold your hands up sometimes and know that it's no good to go in these places acting a big one, because I think as well, like, there's always somebody there that's bigger than you.
Well, this is it.
If you're not disciplined enough, you're never going to succeed in this sport.
Luckily, we've never really had many. It's just a few people are mouthy, but they quickly find out, like, it's just martial arts.
Sometimes it's all about the mental game as well for some folk.
And a lot of people then end up falling in and being like, they've just been looking for a place or like an extended family, so to speak. So after like a couple of weeks, they're like, oh, like, this isn't how I behave, like, this isn't how these people behave, and they end up just falling in. They actually change their whole outlook on life and become a totally different person as well. So there's also the benefit of that. I was
going to say, because you do look like, you all look very close. I've seen obviously your videos and stuff. You're very good at posting about what you do and classes and stuff like that. And even when I've watched, like, I mean, most of the time it's been grown adult males and stuff like that, and you've been maybe given a demonstration or whatever, and the concentration for everybody, and it's like absolutely amazing. Just watching it, you're just like, I mean, a grown man like myself, my attention span is like that, to be fair, but watching it, I'm just very impressed at how everybody kind of thinks themselves as well. And I think it just comes down to the gym and the people that are running the gym, and you know what I mean, the coaches and things like that you have as well. Like, the discipline is there, and I think everybody's got the best interest of Reaper Grappling.
Definitely, 100%.
How many coaches then do you actually have, like, in it? So you talk about like the different jiu-jitsus anyways and stuff like that. Do you have certain coaches for?
Yeah, so we used to have, for jiu-jitsu, we used to have our head coach Shawnee, who's still my head coach, but he's now opened his own place in Irvine. So like, he's taken a step back, so I'm now back to being head coach. So I'm like, that's fine. Like, we've kind of adapted our style of teaching as well, from the old kind of traditional style. to a thing called ecological learning, which is a total mind warp in itself, but it's much, much better, and that's why people are so interested and so committed to viewing what's going on, because they have to listen. And then we've got Bobby, who's the head Thai coach, and we've got some coaches that work underneath him, like some junior coaches that are just kind of upcoming and learning to be coaches. So he's the head Thai coach, and then we've got Martin Stewart that came from another gym called Higher Level, which is producing all the best fighters like Paul Craig, Stevie Ray, like everybody that's competed in the UFC goes through a guy called James Doolan.
That's brilliant.
Like great. The two boys they're great. Like Stewart came in and started teaching wrestling. That's one of the brothers, and then we tried the MMA, but it just wasn't the right time. It was just too soon after COVID, and then Martin came and joined the gym. So we've got the two brothers coaching, and the two of their experiences and knowledge is just second to none. So it's really, really good having them in. And I also teach wrestling as well, so or wrestling for grappling. So that's like all the coaches we've got in terms of teaching martial arts. But we've also got strength and conditioning coaches as well that work there, and we've got like one of the girls as well that she's doing yoga and stuff. So we've got like restorative and stretching and mobility stuff as well. So.
I think that's it, because you need to be quite limber.
You need to hit every facet, like every facet has to be covered to really kind of knock it out of the park. So
it's a proper lifestyle change, like this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Again, it's do or don't. I think when you come to this sort of thing,
you need to be all in or all out
to everything that's going around you. Like, and those, like most people have watched a UFC fight, and you know what I mean. There's people that have got opinions on it, being barbaric and stuff like that, and then there's people that really enjoy it. I think you've got to look at it for what it is. It's a sport. At the end of the day, and it's dedication that gets you right to the top as well. And it's nice to see that there is UFC fighters that are coming from Scotland, and hailing from Scotland. You know what I mean?
There's a young boy, Sean Clancy Jr., who's coming for Higher Level as well, and he's just got in Cage Warriors, and he's an absolute phenom. Like he's going to be the next top prospect for Scotland as well. Really, really good guy.
That's class.
It's amazing to see.
I've seen that for like
you've
probably doing the rounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've
probably been yourself, to be fair, if you've posted anything. But it's nice to see homegrown talent.
But this is what I mean, and this is why I was saying about like gyms need to exchange knowledge. Like they've all started in different places and went to Higher Level because that's where everybody's going as well. It's like it's been going for a long time. It's a long-standing gym, but that's what we're looking to achieve as well. So we've only been like established for 4 years, but we've already got a massive amount of memberships. So we're looking to now start to create the next buzz or the next up and coming guys as well. That's and brilliant. Tie in. So
do you think you'll do like master classes? Like, so I'd imagine most of these guys that maybe when they kind of got to the end of their careers will have so much knowledge. That they want to pass over. Like, is that something you would do?
So
before?
We try and do like again like it depends on the sport as well. Because like I said, the way things are traditionally taught, it's like you go over a technique. But after like a few minutes of learning that technique, you shut down. Like you stop learning, right? You're like after 5 minutes, your attention span's absolutely gone. It's fried. And if you're going over one thing for that amount of time, say it was like an hour's class, and you're only covering one or two topics, you do shut down. We were noticing people were sitting about and talking, and they weren't drilling, and they weren't doing the right techniques. And then we started learning about a psychological way of teaching, and it's like constraining everything so that you can only do one or two things, and you just leave them. So it's an outcome based way of learning.
Right, okay.
So you tell them the outcome. The outcome is I want you to do these two things, but this guy can only do one thing to you, and you can only do one thing to him. But this is how you score. And you watch people that never do jiu-jitsu or grappling or anything, and they're getting to it because they know where they need to be. Instead of me showing them how to get there, they figure it out themselves. And a good analogy is, have you ever seen two bears wrestle?
Aye, they're quite brutal.
Right? So have you ever seen two bears wrestle? Like, nobody showed a bear how to wrestle. It's just natural.
That's quite logic there, to be fair.
Nobody showed a bear an underhook or an overhook or a double leg or how to wrap the hips and control the hips. These are just things that naturally occur. So this is the whole point with a psychological kind of style of learning. Like, you figure it out yourself very fast. It's
quite good because then you're getting the brain moving.
Yes, the brain never shuts off. Like that, for the whole 45 minutes to an hour, there's not one person sat about because you're changing the game so much. Like, you'll add in less constraints, so you'll be like now you can do these free movements, and every time that you add in these or you take the constraints away, it opens up the game. The outcome of the game's still the same. Like, you might have to get to the person's back, for instance, let's just say. So we're always getting to the back, so the person knows where they've got to go. But as we constrain it and take it down, it means like a higher level person can be on par with a lower level person, and the playing field's almost level without it being like the black belt always wins. and the white belt always loses.
Aye. I like that. I like the fact that because again, it's all down to concentration as well. At the end of the day, like I think like that. Nobody, you don't ever look at somebody and go, they're just going to win.
No. Well, if I gave you a sheet of paper and I told you to write the same line 50 times like a punny that you used to get in school,
never had any because I was a well-behaved guy.
Well, so let's say you had to write a sentence 50 times over. It would kill you. Like, it just bores you. You would get to like the 15th and you'd be like, I've had enough. That's what happens. You just shut down. You disengage. This stops you from disengaging.
How do you change it up then?
Aye, that's it.
I like that. That's it. That. Keeps everybody in their toes.
That's it.
Well.
It's just they never lapse concentration. It does because you need to change your thinking. They have to think. They're not just monotonously going over the same routine. They're actually having to think for themselves.
Class. I just want to kind of touch on some wee bits as well. Like, you've obviously did a lot of work in the gym. And you've obviously changed your full changing rooms now. When I seen the picture of what it looked like to what it is now, absolutely class.
Thanks.
Absolutely class. So this is your sports therapy and recovery suite. So do you want to talk us a wee bit through that, and even the stuff that's in it? Obviously, you can mention it, but like the benefits of it, especially when you're doing this kind of sport.
So basically, like, again, it was just dead space. We've got a changing room, but we've also got like other spaces you can get changed, and most people were coming for classes ready and leaving. The only time they weren't was if it was early in the morning or if it was a late class and they were going to work, so they've got the shower. So what we did was we ripped it out and we put in a infrared sauna, 4-man infrared sauna. We put in 2 plunge pools. We put in leg pumps on a chaise longue. Put in a TV, obviously, just for a wee bit of atmosphere. And we've got like a massage gun and stuff. So we decided to maximise it and turn it into like an 8-man, at least an 8-man room. And it might expand again. And obviously it's just for people to chill out, recover. But the whole idea was, we've got a lot of fighters now that are looking to make weight. So the infrared sauna also helps with weight cuts.
That's great.
It's got other health benefits. It's good for cardiovascular health as well. And even if you were actually someone that was morbidly obese or like severely obese to the point like your mobility or even your blood pressure's too high to really exercise, like sticking them in something like a sauna for 5 minutes, 10 minutes before they train can warm them up as well.
I would have known that.
It's just stuff we learned in. It's just silly wee things we picked up in like college and uni. But for us, the plunge pool's good because there's loads of benefits, but there's also loads of benefits or lack of backing for benefits. So for me, like, I'm like, if you can stomach 3 minutes to 5 minutes in a sub 10, probably about sub 8 degrees pool, you're going to come out feeling much better. I don't know if have you ever done it before?
I haven't, no.
Right,
I've never had a reason to do it as such.
There is science behind it. With saunas, there's heat shock proteins, and then with the cold, there's cold shock proteins.
Okay.
And they're supposed to help clear free radicals. There's all these other. For me, like, without going into the science of it, the best part of it is if you just look at for your mental health, right, like the cold, if you can stomach 3 to 5 minutes of really, really cold water, when you come out, everything feels a lot easier. Like, especially if you've got inflamed joints as well, and you are naturally sore. Like, I'm always inflamed after a lot of lifting, a lot of sparring. So even just jumping in that pool, see if it gives me like temporary relief for a few hours where I feel a bit better. It lets my body naturally pick up that inflammation and start to subside it a little bit. Same with the sauna as well. If you're a bit tight, if you're a bit kind of like snapped up after training, half an hour in the sauna loosens you off. You feel like a lot more refreshed. And even like without using it for any training benefits, for people like myself that are constantly on the go, on their mobile, on your phone all the time, working, constantly like looking to like improve your business or other avenues for your business. So you just taking an hour out of your day or half an hour out of your day where you're not actually on the phone and you're just kind of like sitting by yourself and you're living in the moment.
Yep.
Like, that's a huge thing that people overlook. Like, without looking at the actual health benefits, like even just taking that half hour of yourself, it's really, really important. Puts you back into like a proper mindset of like, okay, right, I'm ready to go again, and I've had that time to kind of look after myself. Now it's back to work. So
seen a lot of people doing this kind of cold plunge as well. We've got family members that are doing it as well at the minute, and like that they go to like different locks and stuff like that, and
meet up.
They'll literally jump in it, and especially New Year's become a big thing as well. Like, it's a massive thing now. People starting the year off, but I see a lot of people now doing it within their training. It seems obviously footballers. I mean, I'm a massive fan of strongman and things like that. They're constantly in and out of these pods as well. So you know what I mean, it's very beneficial.
There is a lot of benefits. Obviously, like there's like conflicting science behind it, because obviously anything like reduces inflammation, stunts the process of growth or adaptation, but it's so minimal. Like, it's like they tell you not to take ibuprofen or even vitamin C. See, if you take vitamin C before you train, it blunts the amount of inflammation that you get. But when you're training, you want to create inflammation. That's why you train. That inflammation is stress, and stress is what creates adaptation. So for you to be able to increase your training capacity, you have to be able to look at it as, instead of increasing your training capacity, it's increasing the amount of stress your body can handle over time.
It's mental, man.
That's the science of training. It's called gas. It's
your knowledge is absolutely like tremendous, and as I say, like no, but it also shows that you went and did the research for it. Like, you're not just making this mumble jumble up.
No, like there's just again, because we're limited with time, man. Like, I could go balls deep on this and spend like 2 hours talking about proper science behind it. But I'm just trying to give like a brief overview, because I don't want to sit and probably bore half the people, because I love the science, but it's not for everybody.
I'm sure we have some listeners out there that love the science.
So what I would say is read the studies. There's loads of studies that are conflicting. It'll tell you there is benefits. It'll tell you there's not benefits. Benefits are what you put on it, and that's the main thing. Like, if you feel great after 5 minutes in a cold plunge, you should definitely do it. If you feel great after half an hour in a sauna, definitely do it. If you feel good, but the leg pumps, they're like for edema, so they just like return the blood back from the lower body back up to the upper body.
Right, okay.
So when you train, there's a thing called vascular shunt, where all the blood's taken away from your vital organs and put to the muscles, because that's where it's going to be needed. And then obviously after you train, the blood pools and stays in the leg, because obviously gravity's there and it's pulling it back down, and that's why sometimes you feel a bit sick after training. Your blood sugar will dip, your blood pressure will drop, your heart rate goes up, and you feel like you're going to whitey. Well, that's what we're trying to like reverse.
That's
when
just
we're
me going up the stairs.
Aye, that's me most days training too much. So that's what they're for. Aye. So that's it. It's just the same idea. Like, if you go into a cold plunge after training, it restricts your vessels. It pushes all that blood back up inside the vital organs where you need them to be after training, so it can help you recover quicker.
It's brilliant, man. Honestly, the knowledge is just, it's class. It's class listening to you talking about it as well.
Thanks.
Like, you do have such a great knowledge when it comes to it. As I say, you dug a wee bit more deeper, I think, in the OPT fitness as well, when you're talking about it as well. So definitely, again, check out that. I can't reiterate that anymore. Yeah. It's a great podcast. It was a great listen. So I definitely think, and I say you'll see Chris's info is just out of this world. Your knowledge is just absolutely class. But let's get back to the main reason why you're here as well. That's your business as well, because you obviously have I believe a merchandise store that goes by the name of Enclave.
Yeah.
So do you want to give us a wee touch about that?
Yeah, so that was just like, again, once the gym was set up, I was like, right, I'm always busy. Like, I like to keep myself, I probably put myself too busy, but I was like, the next thing is that this was how the gym started with the brand anyway. The brand started as Reaper started as hoodies. It was just going to be apparel for, I think I said that in the last podcast anyway, for anybody that missed it though. Reaper started as Reaper Gym, like Reaper Grappling apparel. So it was just going to be hoodies. I thought, right, everybody needs hoodies. There's no trend that ever goes out of fashion, like a hoodie. Like, that's always 100%, in. Like, it's all, dungarees come and go, flares come and go. Nobody will never need a hood. Like, a hoodie's always there. So it started as that, and then that took a back burner. And obviously then when I created the gym, created the brand, I had then an audience to sell Reaper merch to.
Yep.
But then I wanted to start looking further afield with that and thinking, like, well, if I can make money out of this, albeit smaller for my gym members, how can I maximise profits using the same company that manufacture my goods for the gym? So we started Enclave, which was, I don't know if you know what Enclave means. So it basically means like a group of people that, it's a bit of a stupid saying really when you think about fashion, because everybody's into fashion and it's the same thing, right? So it's a bit of a kind of missing her. So if you look at it for the fact that Enclave means a group of people that are different from those that surround them.
Didn't
so
know
that's what an enclave is, or a military, but we're obviously not military, so a military outfit. So so that's where I got it from. And then from there I was like, how can I maximise some more income? What's next? And that was it. I kind of went down the gym apparel first, and then I switched from gym apparel just being Reaper branded to being Enclave branded. So I've got Enclave Fightwear, and then I went from Fightwear to, well, how good are these guys that I've got? And they are really, really good. So I got them to make like the micro fleeces, the ones that are quite almost like Bergos or the North Face, and then I got to make teddy fleeces. They've made me cargo bottoms. They've made me everything that you can think of, I can produce. But I missed the season last year because we were getting the prototypes made too late in the season, so I waited a year. And I'm like, I'm now going to launch. We've now launched the new brands, and we've got the stock coming in this week. So next up is just relaunching that and getting a photo shoot done with a guy that I used to do my videos and that with. So I've got that coming up next. That's the next.
I must say, like, I've seen wee snippets of it, and Chris knows I've already messaged him today. But some of his stuff just looks absolutely amazing.
The
like,
guys have knocked
wee
it out
fleeces
of the
and
park.
things like that look so smart. And the branding as well looks top notch.
Just
really,
simple,
really nice.
like if you've seen like
it gives me like North Face,
Bergos
kind of vibes, like it does. But I
didn't want it to be overcomplicated.
What you've done, the fleeces especially, like the kind of pattern it has on it, and I'm just like, that just looks like so good.
Thanks.
Something I would like if I seen it in a shop, I'd be like, I'd pick that up.
Well, I kind of see that way you're walking around. Like I was, the kind of idea was when I was walking through, I think it was the West End of Glasgow. I was like, what is everybody wearing? My market audience anyway, like my target audience, students, people with a bit of disposable income, Glaswegians, looking about. They all had like Napajiri and all these bright colours. They've got not obviously North Face, Bergos. They had Patagonia. All these things were like pastel colours and bright colours and so I thought, okay, I'm going to kind of go down that sort of route and try and amalgamate that style because it seems to be what is in just now, and it will continue to be that way for probably another few years before it kind of starts to fade out. So we're jumping in now, and
it looks absolutely class, man. And I think like the way you can find out when the drop happens is by obviously checking out your social medias and your website and things. So it kind of leads us on to my last question, my friend. How do we find you? What's the socials? Drop them.
Right now we've got the main website is reapergrappling.co.uk. Like that's our main website. We've got the Enclave website in production just now. That's still kind of behind the back door, but it's coming up now that once we get the photo shoot, it'll go live. But everything else is on social media. So we've got our Instagram, Reaper and Enclave. We've also got the Scottish Barbell Society, which is my other business that I run. That's an online lifting business. We also just had our first powerlifting meet this
amazing
a few weeks ago actually. But it was when, I don't know if you remember, when the rain was really bad.
Oh, that was it. A week we had like pure.
So like we almost get flooded in. Like it was an absolute disaster. So like the whole of Paisley was absolutely drowned. It was just a mock meet just to try it out and see how we got on with it. But apart from almost getting flooded in, we're off to a flyer. So the socials are just Reaper Grappling, Enclave, and Scottish Barbell Society. That's the three that are up and running just now.
Brilliant, mate. And if you listen to this on YouTube or watching this on YouTube even, we will link everything in the description below, so it means that you can get on the website, obviously be first to know when all these things drop. If you're interested in obviously taking up these classes as well, I mean, Chris is your man. Give them a message. I'm pretty sure, your knowledge, you'll pretty much share it 100%. But it's one of these things that if you are really thinking about it and you're wanting to be dedicated and you want to be disciplined, this is the place to go.
And your first class is always free with us as well, so
it's a wee taster then.
We get to know if you like you, and you get to know if you like us.
That's it. I think that's it. Not everybody's going to like everybody, and not everybody's going to like the philosophy that people teach as well. So I think that's something it's quite unique and different. You don't really go to gyms now and they're like, you can have like one session free, whatever.
I've always done it since I was a PT, because like I'm like, as much as you might not like me, I might not like you.
That's it. Not everybody's suited to
and there's nothing wrong with that. So
not at all. But I would hope that you would go and you'd be like, right, I've really enjoyed this.
Most people, that's why we are busy. It's a good community. Like most people are really, really nice. Like there's no bad eggs. So it's kind of.
And you just have to look at their videos to see how busy they are, because sometimes I watch it and I'm like, oh my god, the amount of people in that gym.
I know.
Give me anxiety.
I know.
But it's absolutely class. Like it just looks like everybody's dead nice to each other as well, and it looks like a proper gym. That's why I would class as a gym where people help. You know what I mean?
Well, we all go out and eat and have food together after, and so it's like a proper family kind of.
I like that. That's nice, man. Listen, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Much appreciated, and it's lovely to hear that the gym's obviously it's going forward. Thanks, you know what I mean, and it's not going backwards. You've got so much in the pipeline coming up as well. I'm excited to see your brand go live with Enclave. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I'll be able to.
I'll
a little sweater, please.
Just last thing on that, Enclave is it'll almost be ran like Supreme though. So if you miss it, you miss it.
Oh, I like that. Right.
Just so you know, if you miss it, you miss it.
If you can do me a favour,
I'll keep one for you.
I need it.
Aye.
I tell you what, it looked absolutely class. Like I'm not that type of person that would message and be like, by the way, that's like I'm
do
not
you know
like
like
that,
that purple one or the violet one? Just before we finish, like I've had a lot of messages about that.
Mate, it's sick.
Like, and I've only ordered like X amount, so I'm not even going to tell you how many's there. But they're
there you go. If you miss it, you miss it.
You miss it, you miss it.
You need to get on it as well. Don't do me any special favours, but if you
you've had me on, so
great. No, but listen, mate. Thanks so much for coming on. Much appreciated. And folks, I think you can agree it was a fantastic podcast. Chris's knowledge is absolutely amazing. UFC, jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean, it's on the up at the minute. MMA is massive at the moment, and I can guarantee you that there's people listening out there that have kids and stuff that are interested in it, and it's not just about coming to a class and getting battered. It's nothing like that at all. You need to know what's actually going on, you know what I mean, the dedication that goes behind it, the art that it is as well. So as Chris says, you get a free first lesson. Find out if you actually like it, find out if the gym's for you, find out if obviously you want to work with the coaches and things like that, and really give it a good chance. Give it a good chance. But if you've been listening on YouTube, please feel free to drop us a subscribe, a like, all the bits and bobs that you do. It's totally free to do so. You can obviously let us know if you get a favourite UFC fighter, MMA fighter. I mean, it doesn't have to be UFC. There's plenty of promotions out there. Is there a fighter that you like to watch? Is it Chris? Is Chris your favourite fighter? Let us know. But if you're listening on Spotify as well, you can leave reviews. 5 stars can obviously be given as well. You can let us know. But yes, hopefully you've enjoyed. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Thanks very much, mate.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much.